Good afternoon. I'm Eric Jaworski, FLAVA Teacher Education and Professional Development Committee Chair. Thank you for joining us for today's FLAVA Interactive Workshop, Roomies, Zoomies, and Everywhere in Between, Streamlined Planning and Grading for Hybrid Virtual Students with Meredith White. 2020 Georgia Foreign Language Teacher of the Year, Meredith earned her BA, BS, MED, and EDS all in World Language Education from the University of Georgia. Her focus on novice learners works to ingrain proficiency, authentic resources, genuine tasks, student-guided thematic units, and making language learning enjoyable. A high school teacher of Spanish, Meredith also teaches educational methods classes at Georgia State University, in addition to presenting and attending state, regional, and national workshops. Passionate about sharing and collaborating with other teachers, Meredith blogs, moderates the professional learning network LangChat, and serves on the Georgia Gwinnett College of Education Advisory and Southeastern Association of Language Learning Technology executive boards. In today's FLAVA Interactive Workshop, Meredith will chronicle her successes and failures with editable resources and tools while guiding us through lessons learned from the 2020-2021 school year, drawing our attention to how planning and grading fit together given the circumstances of now and beyond. It is an honor to introduce to you Meredith White.
Yay! Thanks, Eric, so much. If you hear beeping, I muted there for a second. If you hear beeping, it's in front of me, but it's in the background. We are having some backyard work done. Totally thought they'd be done by 4. Just working their little butts off back there. So they're like, there's a huge mound of like rocks and dirt going up my driveway as I speak, which I'm hoping doesn't land in said driveway. And they're like in reverse the whole time. So what a time to be alive. What an adventure. I'm super excited now they're scraping things. Super excited to be here with you all. And if it gets too out of control, I'll like mute for a second. But you have access to all of the resources. I'm going to paste that link back in the chat, and I'll also just paste it intermittently. I am just, as Eric said, just outside of Virginia in Georgia, just outside of Atlanta in Gwinnett County. So I teach in what's considered a metro Atlanta district, which means we're suburban, but like also not far from the city. It's the Atlanta area has really expanded in the last 20, 30 years. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint kind of what we are. We're a little bit of all the things. But I'm in a large district, 12th largest in the country. We have 141 schools, 174,000 students, and about 1 million residents where I live. So that means I have to collaborate with a lot of people all the time. And our schools are generally very large and also have large departments and therefore large classes. It's like, you know, the bigger, just everything is big. So I'm going to turn on the captions actually here at the bottom. I know that helps our deaf or hard of hearing attendees, as well as I talk quickly. So it also helps sometimes people whose first language is not English, because I get really excited and I get really selfish. I want to share everything with you all. And so then I get really fast and I get really energetic. So I would have those turned on. So hopefully those are not a distraction. Hopefully they help. But we're going to talk a little bit about, as Eric said, kind of roomies, zoomies. What the heck does all this mean for next year? Like, please tell me there's a next year. I just feel like I can't even, like every week feels like the same. Every day feels the same. So if you're in that same time warp that I am, like, what day is it? What are we doing? We've been yanked around a little bit this year, to say the least. And so we've been hybrid, concurrent all year. We've had roomies and zoomies simultaneously. What our model for next year looks like is roomies and zoomies, but they have told us without any doubts that we will not be doing them at the same time. So it looks like our teachers will have a teacher load of maybe a mix of, right, John? No kidding. Yay. Like that was the first part that we read. It was like in the biggest, boldest font. Like, are they going to make us do this terrible garbage of a situation again? No, they are not. Or so they say. So it looks like we're going to have some digital options going forward, as many places will now, right? We've opened up this box. And then we'll also be back into the in-person option. So almost all of our teachers will have been vaccinated in the next couple of weeks if they elected to do so. And so we're kind of slowly coming out of whatever we are in. So I say that because a lot of the things that we've done this year, a lot is generous. Some of the things we've done this year haven't been all that bad. Overall, this year has been really weird for me. And John, exactly, like, and also not sustainable, like completely unsustainable. One of them is going to get the short end of the stick. For me, it's the roomies. They also seem unbothered that they are the unlucky ones. It's so awkward. Like, it's so awkward to basically be teaching an online class with people in the room. Oh, anyway, so that's a separate session. But the things that have gone well, I'd really like to share with you because I think they're going to continue with us from now on. So you have access to, like I said, all of the slides, every place we're working with. And then also up here above me, it's just another bit.ly. And then it is case sensitive. So / big M Meredith, big W White. You will get, the first thing you'll see is a bunch of different buttons. And then from there, you'll get all recent like presentations, templates, whatever the case may be. If there's anything you like, just shoot me an email and I can give you access to the not presentation mode view of it. So you can kind of click through, decide what you want, if anything, ignore the stuff that you hate, take what you like, whatever. If you teach Spanish, I've got all of my lesson plans on there for free, of course. For level 1, I'm working on putting them there for level 2, but I have to make sure that all of the slideshows don't have any copyright material. A lot of them have like Senor Wooly lyrics and that kind of thing. So I just have to be really careful to not, you know, do anything that breaks the trust of the people who give us so much, right? So many amazing resources like Senor Wooly and Martina Bex, all these incredible content creators. It's like, oh, don't screw up. Don't screw up. I don't want to, you know, make them mad because they do amazing work for us. So a couple of things that kind of frame my mentality when we've looked at this year and that we've learned are here right at the beginning. And so these are just some of my core beliefs that kind of they kind of frame, and you're going to get a sense of kind of who I am and the process behind the planning and the grading. First of all, fewer clicks is more engagement. I mean, this year, if it hasn't taught us that, oof. You know, I mean, like, if my students and me, like in a faculty meeting, if they send like, if there's like 3 links in the meeting, you know, like, I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm still going to be grading, multitasking, like probably some of you are now. Like Kelly had mentioned, like you're on break or you're not, you're in your classroom, like whatever. And so you're just like, yeah, I'm listening. Like that's me at everything. Sorry, I'm busy. Like I got stuff to do. And so the students are the same way. If we're like, hey, here's this Padlet. Now let's play GimKit. Now let's do this. Whatever. A couple things obviously is totally fine, especially if they elected the digital option. They chose that. So that's going to come with the territory. But if they have to open up so many tabs, like the tabs are small, like tabs, like where literally students are like the tabs are not even half an inch. Like I'm looking over their shoulder because I'm super nosy. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just watching. You do you. I want to see what they're Google translating. I want to see how they're approaching tasks. I literally just want to see. Because if I can see what the Roomies are doing, I'm probably going to have a good idea what the Zoomies are doing. And so I'm like, And they've got like all these little like tiny little tabs. Ridiculous. So fewer clicks, more engagement has been really a big lesson for me this year. If I have to think of some way to include it, and then they could, and then maybe, probably too much. Like if I have to start figuring out how I can make it happen, maybe I don't need to make it happen. I also think it's okay if our class is easy. Like this year and from now on, easy is not a 4-letter word. I mean, it literally is a 4-letter word, but it's not a swear word. Like, it's not like, oh, Carol's class is easy. But we use it like that in teaching. We go, oh yeah, Heidi, yeah, if you want French to be real easy, take it with Trude. And they're like, is that supposed to be an insult? Like, I don't think it is. But we treat it that way. Easy is not the enemy, whatever. I think we equate easy with lazy. And to me, those aren't synonyms. Sometimes we have to make things easy. I'm not taking the hardest route to work every day just because like it's the right thing to do. No, I'm taking the fastest one or the one with the fewest turns. Like it's okay to make things easier. I'm also not scrubbing my laundry in the yard like my grandmother used to. because I have a washer and a dryer. Like easy is not a bad thing, but what are we doing with easy? What are we doing with that free time? That's, I think, been a really big question for me this year. If we're, again, with the lazy, right? If we're adjusting expectations, that's okay. It's okay to make it a little bit easier and go, yeah, we're not getting to unit 6, sorry. But we're going to do a more thorough job of units, 1 through 5. Okay. Like, who in their right mind next year, unless they're just really crabby and set in their ways, is going to be like, how do they not know the preterite yet and every irregular? Like, they probably shouldn't have been that way before. But now, we're really looking at what's sustainable. From a distance, with the Roomies, who basically are Zoomies for me. It's like Spanish detention, whatever. We kind of chitty chat, but like not really. They just do the online assignment. And like I said, it's really uncomfortable. So Eric and Heidi said I could be super honest. So that's me being real honest. So I think that's okay. I think we just adjust expectations. It also doesn't mean that we've adjusted our standards. You can still have high standards, adjust your lower expectations, and also make things easy. Like, these are not mutually exclusive terms, but the way we talk, you'd think, we go, oh yeah, well, if they had Miss White last year, they're all used to be Spanish being fun. Okay. Is that supposed to be like, am I supposed to feel bad about myself? No, fun is okay. Easy is okay. And saying like, yeah, we didn't get to the preterite. They won't even recognize like a preterite word. Like, that's not even going to be a thing. They go, oh yeah, I think we did. Whatever the thing is, passé, composé, all the different things that are the things that each language kind of complains about, right? I know Spanish teachers do. Ser and a star, preterite imperfect, whatever. It is what it is. Like, they're just going to have to review it or learn it for the first time, whatever. And kids do us dirty. We know that. They get into the next level and they go, we never spoke Spanish. I've never heard. Yes, you did. I taught you last year. I know we did that. So we already know how they do us. So I'm not losing sleep over that. I'm also not losing sleep over the student engagement or lack thereof. We're at the point where for the Roomies, I have to turn off the assignment at the end of the class period. That's the only way that some of them will do it, honestly. Again, full disclosure. Okay. That's it. They'll sit there and I go, hey, Cassandra, you good? And she's like, yeah, it's good. I'm good. I'm literally looking at the screen that says they haven't logged in since February. Like, okay. You're good though. Yeah, great. Okay. just sitting here and go formative, waiting for some answers. Literally any answers, anything, whatever. Like, it is what it is. You're going like, hey, Heidi, Eric, y'all good? Great. Okay, I need you to, can you go to number 2? Because we're on 12. So that'd be great if you could catch up with us today. Yeah, I was a little bit feisty and snarky yesterday, and I might have said some of those things. One kid was cracking up. Poor Ahmed. He's kind of nice, but sometimes he's a little snippy. So I got a little snippy. And he was laughing at something like videos, like they were just watching TikTok in class. He's not doing the assignment. And he's just watching his phone. And he cracked up. I was like, what are you doing? Checking your grades? Because I was being a jerk. Yeah. But he was laughing and I was looking at his go formative 0. So I closed that assignment at the end of the class period. If you sat here for 90 minutes and did nothing, that's a decision. So I've really had to internalize this year and remind myself every day that behavior or the lack of engagement or the fact that the Zoomies are working 1,000% harder than the Roomies in a lot of cases does not define how good of a teacher I am, period. End of story, point blank, period. Like, that's it. I leave work. I did what I needed to do. I had my act together. Goodbye. Like, that's what I have to remind myself. I didn't think I'd have to remind myself every day, but it's every single day. So if that's your situation right now, if you're killing it, those comments were not for you. But if you're feeling a little bit badly about some things, seriously, every day I have to remind myself, you're good at this. It's like that old Saturday Night Live skit where he's looking into the mirror and he goes like, you're what does he say? It's like, you're smart enough, you're good looking enough, and by gosh, people like you. Yeah, exactly, Cassandra. I'm smart enough, I'm good enough, and by golly, people like me. Like, that's literally every day. I'm like, you're a good teacher. You're a good teacher. And doggone it. That's our mantra now. That is our FLAVA, April 1st, no April Fools. That is our mantra. you are smart enough, you are good enough, and doggone it, you teach things sometimes. They learn some darn Spanish. That's the goal this year. Don't hate me. Don't hate this class. Learn a little Spanish. Woo! Like those are the I can statements. Goodbye. End of story. Because for a lot of our students, they're just checking a box, right? We talk about all these other skills of like, and you can put on your resume and you can travel or speak with people in your own community. We're not just training people to travel. You know, that's kind of a privileged point of view. Like you're going to be a great tourist when you go on that fancy, no, like help people in your community, love more people, listen to music, eat good food, like whatever. All of those kind of things. For some kids, that's just not going to be their zhuzh. Like our class just doesn't do it for them. I wasn't like swooning in calculus either, whatever, but I was in language, obviously, in Spanish class. So for some students, our class feels like those HR videos that we have to do every year that I turn in late every year because they're not actually due till like October. So I wait until October before I do bloodborne pathogens, something else. See, this is why I do them late because I don't even remember what's on them. Anyway, a lot of stuff that like we should probably just know anyway. And I don't watch the videos and I take the quiz and then I get like a 60, but you have to get an 80. Sometimes we are the children. Like we have to put ourselves in their shoes more than ever and from now on and realize, that's okay. This isn't your favorite. Whatever. Like it is what it is. Then maybe I pare down my goals. Again, you just don't hate this. You don't hate me. You see yourself represented in our curriculum. So you see this as like an equitable representative space and you learn a little French or you learn a little Mandarin or a little German, whatever. It is what it is. You know, some are going to take to it like anything. So when we talk about all of these things, then we have the 6 core practices. So we have to keep all of the things straight, right? 6 core practices, standards, I can statements. What am I missing? Yeah, that might be it. Oh, and then all the like proficiency benchmarks, which are the I can statements. But you know, like the ACTFL I think of as like the mothership. And I feel like the mothership just keeps like beaming out things like, and don't forget, you know, and it's like those memes that say like, this is me trying to get, you know, all my work done, get exercise, drink enough water, be present for my family, like no problem. And we're just juggling. So that's kind of how I feel about the 6 core practices. Obviously, all of those things stem and they all work together, but they stem from the 6 core and then the standards are, you know, represented in them, blah, 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 blah. But when I look at the 6 core, I have to think like, okay, how are we doing this digitally? What were we doing before? What are we doing now differently that is better? Or what can I not wait to get back to? Like there's all of those things of like, man, this really stinks, but I love that we had to do this because, you know, now I know that we can blank. Like I think of authentic resources. Like last year and beyond, if I found something online, like on Leslie Grand's Pinterest page, which is incredible for an authentic resource, if I found something, then it was like those Russian dolls that just keep coming out of each other. Cause it was like, okay, how do I get it to students? Oh, okay, well, I can't print in color. Okay, well, I'll make 36 copies so that we'll make like a class set and then I'll put them in a page protector. It's like 18 steps just to see a cool infographic that, you know, was tips for traveling and we were in the travel unit. Like that's so annoying. Now it's like paste, click, can you see it? Hit refresh. Yeah, great. I mean, the access to different things is so incredible. So like that's something I don't, you know, we can keep incorporating so many authentic resources just way easier and faster. So all of those things kind of come together for me as advocacy really, which is proficiency-based world language teaching. Here's what's going really well. Here's what we love. Here's how we're growing our program or adding like dual language immersion, like whatever it is that's happening. We've got to do more advertising and more advocacy for ourselves than a lot of other content areas, or maybe any, I don't know, anything that gets, you know, at risk of being eliminated, like languages, especially if you're the only Arabic teacher, the only German teacher, the Chinese teacher. You know, you're the face of your program. So people who say, oh, I don't accept late work. They're in calculus now. They're taking chemistry. This is physics. It's like, okay, well, we can't be that way because if they hate us, we don't have students. If they hate the class, we don't have students. And if we don't have students, we don't have a program. Also, I literally just told you that I turn in the HR videos late every day. So if I lost my job, the first time I turned in the HR videos because I was like, I'll remember later, and I didn't. is that really real world consequences? How many times have you asked your technology person a question? Like your school, if you have a school like tech person and you're like, oh my God, ours is Sean. And I go to her, will you tell me how to post grades again? I know I ask this every year. I'm so sorry. Don't hate me. I'm really techie, but for some reason I never remember this. What if she said no? What if admin, every time we ask something they said at a meeting, I already taught you that. But I wasn't listening. Like, too bad. You'll have to, okay. Like, are we holding students to higher standards than we hold ourselves or each other? What if they said no? And I get that some of those scenarios are totally different, but we have to advocate for ourselves. So one thing that my department did starting last year in terms of planning and grading, right, is we made every language and level have the same grading structure. So what you see in front of you, and again, you have access to all of this, and there's like tons of things in the speaker notes. So the speaker notes are for you, they're not for me, and things are hyperlinked and all of those kind of things. You've got 3 levels here, and they're categorized the way I think of them, as small, medium, large. So this is our structure for 1 unit. So just staying super transparent, super like, here's what's going to be graded, here's what you need to do. This is, again, like I said, across languages, so horizontally, and across levels vertically. So Spanish 1's grade book looks just like Latin 4 in terms of the categories, the weights, and the types of assignments, okay? And so again, like we're saying in the chat, right? Like real life. Like, so let's do what real life, if you never knew when your teacher evaluation conversation was gonna happen. Some of them, they just spring on you. So like, be ready. Some of them are unannounced, but like you typically know if yours are going to be unannounced. Like they're not just popping in going, hey, by the way, yours for the whole year. You have like a pre-meeting and all those kind of things. So we added a lot of transparency, not for any reason, but just to be able to say that students aren't taking one language or another because like, oh, get Chinese. I'm going to use like my actual colleagues' names. Like take Chinese. Miss Yi she never grades anything. She just like puts in 100, the whole column. So easy. I don't speak any Chinese though. So like, you know how they do us dirty? Again, students, why does anybody believe them? Okay. I mean, I love my students, but like, you know how they do with us when they go level to level, you're 2 feet away from that other person's classroom and they're like, hey, hola, I hate level 3. Bye, love you. She can hear you. Stop waving to me, your level 2 teacher, and yelling how much you hate level 3. I don't want her to, no, like, I don't want her to resent me or him or whatever. So they lie a lot. So we wanted them not to be able to, pick a language based on like, it's the easy one, and take away some of that decision fatigue from teachers. Same thing within levels. You shouldn't be able to go to like level 1, have 1 million grades, go to level 2, have 6 grades, go to level 3. Let's say maybe you've had a couple different teachers by this point, go to level 3 and now same, like back to 1 million grades. Ugh, level 2 was so easy. We never had any quizzes. Yeah, okay, sure, you did. But you don't remember them because, you're doing whatever students are doing when they make those comments. So John, we didn't get any pushback in our department, total honesty. We have a really great department. And I believe we have 14 people in our department. So this is everybody's grade book's the same. And I think it was a relief more than anything because it lessened that teacher fatigue of like, because we go like all the question words, right? Like, what am I going to grade? How am I going to grade it? When is it due? This really takes away everything but the how. So because we have 3 little, 2 medium, 1 big in each unit, now you just decide what you want those to be. Like, what do you want your small to be? A GimKit percentage, an ed puzzle, a daily work, like a writing, a worksheet, whatever you would do your classworks. And then your quizzes, you can design on your course team. And so we're very, like anybody who teaches level 2 right now, for an example, be like together designing the quizzes. So it might be the same, might be a little different. I might say calcetines for socks. They might say medias, whatever. We always tweak a couple things, but the same in structure, and typically the same number of questions as well. So within course teams, then you collaborate closely. This will stick long-term. So this was our structure last year. We just changed it last year. It was fall of 2019. And so this was, my department chair is not like a micromanager, but she was like, this is non-negotiable, period. Like, this is just, just pre-COVID. Oof. And it's like one of the only things that has kept, there's about 5 things that have kept my sanity this year. And this is one of them, because I can just plug in my grade book at the beginning of the quarter. I can call it quiz 1. I might not know what's on quiz 1 yet, but I know there's going to be a quiz 1 and a quiz 2, and same with colleagues. So you can, even if they're obviously all empty and just called the names, at least it's there. And then because we have 14 teachers in our department, our students go between teachers, and it's really nice to have that consistency. You can say, just like last semester, you're going to have 3 classwork grades this unit, 2 quizzes, and 1 test. The grades are weighted, so 45%, 25%, and so the percentages add up to 100%. So you've got 10. Let me move my mouse here and turn on my little mouse, little doohickey laser thing. So you've got 10% here. The classwork assignments are 10%, and then quizzes, or like medium, 25%. And then the tests are 45% within the units. So 45, 25, 10 doesn't add up to 100, adds up to 80. The other 20% are our finals. So we have to give like a common final for our district. And it's kind of funky, especially the performance finals this year. Ugh, like, great, I get to read and listen to Google Translate. Yay, all the modes, super duper. And so that's annoying. And so I'm just, again, being super honest. I don't know about you, my level 1s are higher than they've ever been this year. They're using all the tenses. So no, they're not, they're Google translating. So that's how we get the 100. So this down here is like the equals 80 overalls, the 10 plus 25 plus 45. So in a unit, let's say with the classwork assignments, I give right here. So we got 3 weeks a unit. So if we've got 3 little, 2 medium, 1 big, that's in a unit. We have 1 unit every 3 weeks, meaning multiply these all by 3, and that's going to be 1 quarter. So on a quarter report card, they're going to have 9 classwork assignments, 6 quizzes, 3 tests, which ensures mathematically that also nothing is out of whack. Like, when kids do like a mountain of makeup work and they turn it in and their grade's like, boop, and it goes up 1 point, they're like, so how's my 76? 78. Like, why did I grade all that? Why did you do all that? For me in the past, that was always because I had too many assignments, to be honest. And so they didn't weigh enough to matter. And kids aren't thinking mathematically, and neither are their parents sometimes. They're like, can he still do all his work? No. But like most of it, yes. Like the classwork assignments have closed, but they're 10%. They prepare you for the quiz and the test or the IPA or whatever it is. But like, that is not the hill to die on right now. Do the test you're missing, right? Like, especially this year. Good grief. Like they're not like quite gripping necessarily onto why things like weigh different, like, I don't know, amounts. So we go in and individually define, like for ourselves, what the classwork is, for our team, what the quizzes are, and then for our team, what the test is. So you have a lot of freedom. It sounds like really lockstep, and you might be like totally turned off, like, hate this. I want to do my own thing. I was totally the same way, like, okay, well, let's try it. But like I said, it was actually more of a relief for me, and I think everyone else, to go, okay, cool. Because this is basically what we were doing anyway. And you just kind of call it whatever, classwork or quiz and whatever. And then you decide among your team or yourself, if you're just you, kind of what that entails. One next step that's been kind of a level up for us this year is being able to give them being the students, as many sort of always and never statements as possible. Meaning my quizzes, for example, this year are always 10 questions, things like that, to where I don't have to decide anymore. And I'm also not kind of mentally messing with that thing of like, I feel like I should have 5 more questions because I should have at least 20 questions because that's what they taught me in teacher school. Like I had all these, like, no, they didn't. No one ever said a thing has to look like this. So we kind of decide that on our team. I like having always and never statements. Like, so I can, that's just kind of the party line. So with those classwork assignments, we have an assignment every day. We have a Monday assignment, a Tuesday assignment, a Wednesday assignment, and a Thursday assignment. This year only, this year I choose, now listen, brace yourself because it's going to change next year because I'm tired and I'm cranky, but I think it was the most fair thing this year. And in my gut of guts, I feel good about it still, despite the earlier comments about the Roomies, who I love, but I'm also really frustrated with. So I say this with all of my heart that next year I'm going to take the average of those 4. So we have Monday assignment, Tuesday assignment, Wednesday assignment, Thursday assignment. Right now, I take their highest one. So let's say Kelly, it's like 80, 90, 70, 65. I'm going to take Kelly's 90. And then she did all 4 and she did okay. She did great on 2 of them. Okay on the other 2. She's probably ready-ish for Friday's quiz because the quiz obviously reflects the classwork assignments, backward design, right? Could Kelly choose to just do the 1? Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Yeah, absolutely. She could go 0, 0, 95. Oh, great, I'm done. And then 0 and not do anything. She's probably not going to do well on Friday's quiz. And every time somebody doesn't do like 2 of the assignments, knowing I'm going to take their highest, I follow up with their quiz grade and it's like 50, 60, because they missed half the stuff, right? They might not have been present on Zoom. They're not engaging with the material. And for the classwork assignments, I use GoFormative. So at my website, if you want to see literally every daily assignment my students have had this year for level 1 and 2, scroll all the way down and you can clone the assignments in GoFormative. Our learning management system is eClass. eClass does a lot of things, but I really love GoFormative a lot more for having the entire assignment all in one place. If you use like Canvas or It's Learning or ones that are really intuitive and you can put everything in one place, love that. eClass makes it really like not awesome. And so all of my classwork assignments are in GoFormative. So that can have like, look at this Quizlet set up front. Now let's watch this video. Then you've got some comprehension questions, going to follow up with a little response and an exit ticket, and then the calendar, just so they orient themselves. You can put everything in there, right? Sonia, it's so good, right? Oh, GoFormative is so good. And everything's in one place. So if you want mine, take mine for free. You just scroll all the way down there. They're in a Google Doc at the very bottom.
Meredith, we have,
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, we have 2 questions in the Q&A. One is, how do you define quiz and test? And another one, no homework, only classwork?
Correct. Yeah, no, I don't do homework. They don't do it. Mine don't do it. And for the Zoomies this year, it's all homework, right? So my goal this year has been, you know, if you don't get it done in the class period, that's on you. Now it's homework. And that they don't have any like work outside of class. So that's kind of the goal, because 80% of my students are virtual. So I know that I had a mountain of homework as a high schooler and I didn't do most of it because I was too busy. You know, it was like too much to do, too many moving pieces. So we don't do any homework. And then quiz and test is up to you, however you define them now. It's just kind of like, you know, for the classwork, our units are 3 weeks. So like week 1, whatever that content is, usually interpretive. Usually we'll do a reading or a listening quiz after that first week. Second week, same thing, that content, either reading or listening, just to get their kind of interpretive, get them focused on either reading or listening. And then typically this year, the tests have been performance, either writing or speaking. Obviously, they've been doing all the modes the whole time, but just to keep them getting lots of feedback, getting grades back quickly, and making, again, as many like blanket statements as we can. The first quiz is always reading, for example. Second quiz is always listening. And the test will be writing and or speaking. So this year, making them fewer modes. Usually under normal circumstances, they would do all of them, right? There'd be a reading, a listening, a speaking. That may change after this because we found giving a lot of formative feedback the whole time and formally assessing fewer things at one time has actually been really advantageous. So in using Go Formative, I've been able to give way more formative feedback this year. Every day, my students get a score on their assignment in Go Formative, 15 to 20 questions usually. Again, take mine and you'll see what I mean. And then they get a score and then also like some typed feedback, maybe some help, maybe some scaffolding and so on. Andrea, you do need a Go Formative account, but you can just do the free one. I just signed up with my Google. And then when I copied over my friends' assignments, I was like, oh, I see what it does now. And then I was seeing if it was worth it or not. So take all of mine and you'll see kind of what they do. Because again, fewer clicks. I keep them in one place and students usually take about 20, 30 minutes max to do the assignment and then rock and roll. I'm excited next year if they're able to have devices or if our school's going to become one-to-one, that we can continue using these same assignments because now they're all in one place. Every day is like, okay, here's this, here's the Quizlet set. You can embed everything in there. Do a Quizlet game. Okay, a couple of photos, little slideshow, answer these questions. It's basically like your Nearpod and your Pear Deck and your whatever, but all in one. So Marcella, in terms of target language this year, girl, 90-10, more like 10-90. I have no idea this year. Most time we shoot for 90-10. But this year it's like, I'm just lucky if the roomies say hi and goodbye in any language, like any language. John, for the formative grades, yes, but they get like an actual score because a lot of the grade, like the questions, individual questions have answers. And so you can go through and score them. So it would be like scoring every sheet they do in class, but way faster and much easier. So you get 4 scores every week. Next year, I'm going to average them together because I've been like, we've been so patient and graceful, and we should be with students. Amazing. Love them. However, next year, it's going to be a really great way to have a snapshot of exactly what they did in class. So I'm actually going to have my plan. Hope this doesn't make me sound like a monster, but I'll risk it. My plan is to have, instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday assignments, and I pick the highest, I'm taking the average, and they're going to close at the end of the class period. If the students were present, they're still accessible, but they're not going to be able to do them if they were present that day. So there's a Go Formative every single day. Yeah, that's where our assignments live. Each day our students go into Go Formative and they're labeled by the date. So Fridays, I'm a Friday quiz and test person. And again, the quizzes and tests could be one mode, like they could just be a reading quiz, could be a listening quiz, which is what I put on here. First quiz is reading usually, second quiz is listening, 10 questions, interpretive, something that we've heard or read during the week, or like a compilation of the things we've heard or read during the week, especially in live class. For those who have really been engaged and present, it rewards them. If you missed it, yeah, stuff happens, like life happens, but you missed every day, like 4 days. And our district had Flex Fridays originally. So we all kind of treat Fridays still as like Flex Fridays, no new content, and just like an assessment if you want. So for our interpretive assessments, we typically create our own. And again, if you're able to get like a Go Formative, like make just a free Go Formative account and you copy these over, you'll kind of see what I mean. I can share with you like an example of a quiz too, Lauren, if you want later on. Andrew, if you log into Go Formative, then go to that Google Doc at my website and you're able to clone the assignments. Then you'll have like a copy, like an editable copy as a teacher. So if you want to see it in student mode, you just click on the little eyeball in the corner. So when you copy it over, boop, then you can see it. And so for our interpretive quizzes, some of those are self-graded, right? Just like graded right in eClass or whatever it is you're using. And again, I'm just going to be honest, like just because sometimes that's easy, right? We're using different questions, or there's some of the same questions from class, which also rewards the students who participate and engage in the classwork. So who's got like an actual true 100 right now? Students who are doing all the classwork assignments, reading my feedback, going back, fixing their answers so they get like the most possible credit, and then taking those Friday quizzes. And if they don't like their score, utilizing the retakes. Those are my students that have a true high A right now. And it's not because they're like doing the most things, they're just kind of steady and engaged as much as possible. And taking advantage of the fact that classwork in Go Formative, for example, is really easy to do and get feedback on and edit and redo. And our quizzes are just retakes and, you know, all of the chances, right? All of the opportunities, as many as possible. It always surprises me when students don't take advantage of those. So we've got, Ginny, my classes are large, about 30 to 36 usually. So we have about 100 at a time. So by the end of the year, about 210 total, but 100 at a time, because we do a level in a semester. For our tests, we can't do them like we were because we were doing like reading, writing, speaking, listening on every test. So if you were doing an IPA or something smaller, that's just what we call our large. So you define your large and your medium and your small, however you already do that, like whatever already feels in your gut, like a small, like a, you know, manageable thing, like, oh, that's like a classwork assignment. Okay. Oh, this is more of a quiz because it's kind of all of the classworks, you know, combined or paired out for the most important parts. Same thing with the test. What are our can-do statements? What were our objectives for this unit? How can they demonstrate that? So if that's an IPA or like a, you know, more kind of test looking test, whatever. This year we've pretty much done one modes. That's why I said 1 to 3 modes, because usually it's a little bit more, but not these days. Again, it's amazing if students do it. In some cases, like, you guys are still missing an entire test. So that'll, I'm sure, go back to at least 2 modes at a time next year, but that's still, the calculation doesn't change and the weight doesn't change, and kind of how we plan around that doesn't change. So that's really, really nice. And then this is actually a screenshot of my grade book from January. So this is what I meant by I can go ahead and name things in the grade book. And I think it was John that mentioned above, like, seems like it would be empowering for students. It really is. It takes away the secrecy and the, you know, like the curtain and Wizard of Oz, like, well, you can't know. I still sometimes say things when they say, is this for a grade? They don't ask it as much as they used to, but when they do, you know, what do we say? Everything's for a grade. Like, kind of, but kind of not. So, you know, when I average those classworks together next year, if we're back again under normal quote unquote normal circumstances, back all in person, for the most part, at least within the physical classroom itself, then yeah, everything is kind of for a grade because they have the opportunity to go back and, you know, fix it, whatever. Kind of like a coach does for a practice. You know, if you have a crappy day at football practice, you're not kicked off the team, but like, mental note, because coach is figuring out who their starters are for Friday. So like, everything's kind of a grade on, you know, the football team or the basketball team. It's that same thing, like, might not be like the critical move in the moment that wins the game, but you know, it's going to get you playing time or it's not. So that kind of everything's for a grade is a little bit slippery for me. So I plug in everything so they can also see their grade book as a calendar, and that allows them to be able to plan. So they could see that, like, on the 14th, that was the Thursday, January 14th was a Thursday, or at least it should be. And that was when their classwork, like their last classwork, was due. I take the highest. And then the next day, Friday, the 15th, was the quiz. Same with the next week. Same with the next week. So they have 3 of these for every 9 weeks, because we do 3 units in a quarter, which means that they have, again, 3 tests, 6 quizzes, and 9 classwork assignments. So if you want to think of it 3-2-1 or 9-6-3, either one, whatever's easier. Our students get a report card on every quarter. And so not like an averaged report card, like a 90 averages with 100, 95. They get a separate transcript, like, line for our classes at the semester. So being able to be transparent and empower them sooner rather than later has been really important. And so that's again, just an added level of transparency. I put at the bottom, of course, like if you tell them what's graded, won't they not do it? Yeah, sure. They were already maybe gonna not, do it. I haven't seen any difference in the number of students that normally engage and the number of students who, normally do but change their mind or whatever. Like to me, they've been the same. Workers are gonna work, lazies are gonna laze. It's just tale as old as time. And the teachers are the same way, right? You could say it's a pandemic. Now you got to post your lesson plans and da 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 da. You have colleagues who are not doing what they've been told they have to do. Worker's going to work, lazy's going to laze. So our colleagues are like that. Grades, exactly. Cassandra, like, I think they appreciate the transparency. So do parents, but Kelly's exactly right. I think a lot of kids aren't as grade motivated as we think. And a lot of our colleagues, and I've been guilty of it too, have used grades in a retaliatory way. So it's like, oh, you're not going to do it? Fine. Now it's a grade. Like, right? How many times you've been like, nobody's going to, okay, no, give me that. And I'm walking around grabbing papers, like, especially early in my career when I didn't know what else to do. I really had to let that go this year. And just in general, but just again, that their engagement does not define my self-worth at all. They can choose to engage or not engage. I am not losing any sleep at night thinking that I didn't give them enough chances, that I didn't do enough, that I didn't work hard enough. I'm done. I've done that for too long, period. And it is every affirmation in my head not to be retaliatory. Like even now, we were tweeting about it the other day, like, do not retaliate with grades, do not retaliate with grades. Because in the like tiniest little voice that just sounded ever so snotty last week, student first block, you're still taking the highest one, right? And we're halfway. God, it was a terrible impression. That was so mean, but it's how it sounded in my head. And I'm looking at Go Formative, everyone else like, great, killing it on the last question. She hasn't even started. And I was like, you know what? And I wish I would have responded better, but I didn't. I said, that would really ruin your little setup right now, wouldn't it? Because you do one until you like the grade, and then that's it. You're good for the week. And I'm not proud of that. And we're recording, whatever. I stand by it. I'm a human. I did it and I said it and I meant it. I don't know that I even regret it. So that probably makes me worse. And she was like, because she kind of laughed. She knew exactly. Yes. Like she guilty as charged, right? So there are some that take advantage. They would have taken advantage anyway. They're the same ones that when you said, that's it, we're turning this in. No, it's fine. You had 20 minutes and we like just start monologue, right? They're the same ones that would have grabbed somebody else's and copied really fast. And we can't quite prove it, but we know whatever. Okay. I can't be a grown woman with a job that loses sleep over like a 15-year-old cutting corners the same way, again, some of our colleagues are. I mean, worker's gonna work, lazy's gonna laze. I know that sounds terrible, but I stand by that, like, period. They literally, like, when I'm like, hello, Heidi, are you there? And they've muted us long ago, right? Like they're staying on the call. It still is like, there's Heidi right on the Zoom participating. Heidi, like, is this thing on? No, she's playing Call of Duty or she went back to bed. Like, or she went to the bathroom for 3 seconds and that's actually the only time that she missed and you happen to say her name. Like, we legitimately don't know what's happening. So I've had to like really let that go. I don't know that I'm there yet, but every day I remind myself, they are actual children. They're actually children. Like, stop it, get it together. Because also me being, freaking out about it, it doesn't really matter. So Leanne, they get a score every day. So again, your grade book might look like, my grade book might look like, for you, Leanne, 85, 90, 87, 70. I'm going to take that 90 and then the rest are just formative because you also have the chance to like type feedback in. So they might be a 0. Like next year, the girl who was like, I'm going to do her voice again because it's probably like super rude of me, but it just hit that nerve. Like, you're still taking the highest, right? Yes. I almost wanted to just say, not yours though. Yours I'm taking the average of right now. So if they don't turn it in, 0. Next year, that's going to hit them hard because if I'm averaging 90, 80, 50, 0, eeks, like that's going to bring down, even though that 50 was already down, whatever that averages to, 170, 230 divided by 4. Yeah, like 60. So eeks. right now it doesn't really hurt them except for the quiz. So the ones who don't do all four, like they don't do on the quiz because it's the same questions and they haven't even looked at it. So in terms of like Go Formative, I also make my classwork assignments wherever you keep them, Google Classroom, Edpuzzle, like whatever you do on a daily basis already, right? We've been doing this for a year. I just label mine by the dates. And so that all they have to know is today's date. And that's just what I tell them. I'm like, today's date, like just know that today is April 1st. That's all you need to know. And so all of my assignments classwork wise have the date. I also added a video there where it says video explanation here, right in the middle, that where you can see like why, you can see the video I sent to students that explains why they're called that way. Because second semester, I got all new students. It was like the first day of school. So why they're called classwork one, classwork one, classwork one, classwork one, like why there are several of those, because that's where I'm pulling from for the average. So if they go into the grade book and go, oh, I'm missing unit 4, classwork 1. What is that? Like nobody asks that anymore because it's like, that's what it was. When they log into Go Formative, the names are the same. So there's no longer like, what was that? It doesn't say like Flipgrid. Okay, which one though? It's literally just the date. So a Flipgrid might be part of that, or an Edpuzzle might be part of that, but it's just the assignment. I know it's kind of hard to conceptualize without looking at Go Formative, but just picture like literally like a long sheet of paper where you can put in everything that you do. So all they have to know is today's date. Fewer clicks, more engagement. If my kids were like, okay, she wants us to go through the Quizlet and then do the Flipgrid and then go back to, I would lose them at like logging on, okay, to be honest. So when we look at all of the different tech tools, like Heidi's Incredible presents all these incredible tools. When we look at things like that, where do these fit in? This is just like a sample 3-week like scheme of how some of those could fit together. Meaning you've got your, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's pink, quiz 1. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's pink, quiz 2. So you can see they're the same colors, gray for little, pink for medium, and then like turquoise for big. So within a unit, we've got 12 classwork assignments because 4 days, 3 weeks, and then quiz 1, quiz 2, test. So I'm a Friday quiz and test person. And then again, if I can also say quizzes are always 10 questions, tests are always like a prompt, that you have to speak or write for. As many things as we can tell students ahead of time, always this, never this, whatever. I think that's, again, just full transparency, which ends up being advocacy for our program, right? All the things. So when we look at technology resources, you'll see like quiz, Gimkit, Blookit, different, might be like a Flipgrid using Google Slides and Grid View, all those kind of things. How do those all fit together? Like, what do we do in class? Same things you're all doing now. I'm sure you get your favorites and just use the heck out of them, right? Don't use anything new. That's my goal this year. Nothing. And so because we have these 4 assignments, because we have these 4 things that we can do, and I know that Friday they're just going to be quizzing or testing, that's when I can give some feedback. So I've also got here on slide 17, like how my weekly schedule kind of pans out. Because if I'm going, holy crap, they get like a score on every assignment and sometimes typed feedback. When does that happen? Like, what are you at school till 6 p.m.? Absolutely not. This is kind of how or this is exactly how I have some of those rolling routines that I keep together, like that I keep rotating through every week. So for example, like on Mondays, all of the four assignments for the week open up. So that means I have those ready like on Monday. They're all on Go Formative, set to be available, and then expire that same day. So they open up at 7:10 on Monday and then expire at 9 p.m. on that same day. So you could on Monday look ahead to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe do a few, see what's coming up, right? Just orient yourself. They send out a faculty meeting agenda usually. Why not? We want to know what's happening. I don't want to just be like sitting there and be surprised every time. And if you're Gina in 4th block, you do every single one early, and then you're in Zoom class, like taking all the feedback and doing it, all the things. So it's like she gives herself a pre-test every week. Like she does every assignment beautifully, but like not perfectly, obviously, because we haven't done it yet. Then when we go back in class in Zoom, she's like, okay, fixes her own answers. Amazing. Gina, can I clone you? So they do open Mondays. And then I also put in zeros for the last Friday's quiz. So they had the whole weekend, no questions asked. I don't care. I'm not going to put in zero. I'm not opening grades or doing anything schooly for the weekend. In my planning, I make sure any of those zeros that I put in, I've emailed students, just like a blanket email, just blind copy everybody in. Hey there, you're missing last Friday's quiz. It's in as a zero. What's up? You okay? Need anything? Whatever, still open. And then during class or kind of right as the last class ends, any of those that have done that Friday quiz, like, oh crap, because they see that zero, I can put in, so they're, coming in as they come. And then 9 p.m. on Monday and every night, all those classwork assignments close. Because for the Zoomies, that feels fair to me. Midnight feels kind of like it encourages kind of negative habits. Like I don't want them to be up doing schoolwork at midnight. I know a lot of them are kind of nocturnal and we're getting stuff at weird times, but I tend to get them a little sooner because, because they close at 9. So it prioritizes a little bit. I think it makes it a little bit easier for them. If everything closes at midnight, then everything's equally important. And we know that's not true. And then you can see the rest of the week as well. And as well as a few things there at the bottom that just are kind of how I keep them fair and how I feel like I can keep my routines. Like Johnny would ask, like, time savers, like how I can comment, during class. Like Monday, I focus on Monday's assignment. Tuesday, I focus on Tuesday's assignment because the planning is done. So I'm able to comment on those and give them scores. And again, if you copy my Go Formative classworks, you can literally have all of them that students have done this year. So what you have on slide 18 is actually everything for like most of January. So if you want to see, it's a couple of things happening at one time. You've got access to all of the Go Formative assignments and they're by date. So if you looked at, 7th of January, 8th of January, 9th of January, you can copy over and see what students see the work that students completed. Don't judge me. We're all hanging on by a thread this year, right? You're like, this isn't very hard. Shut up. We're just trying to get them to do something. No, I'm teasing, but like also kind of not. So you can see all the classwork assignments. And then I've also given you a copy of like in-class slides because we stay synchronous for, a little while, do a few things together, work in the Go Formative together, and then ta-ta, ciao, bye-bye button. That's what my colleague calls the end call, the bye-bye button. So that's what we do. So you can see the teacher side as well as the student side. Next year, again, we're always looking forward. We're again going to have the same grading structure. It's not going anywhere. And I'm really hoping that we can use all of those classwork assignments and quizzes, obviously. Like we're rethinking a lot of things, especially because with the electronic format, they can redo it, they can retake it. Like how many times before did kids have to like be able to stay after school on Wednesday to finish, a thing? And many times mine wouldn't finish. Like, Eric, you got a 70. Let me know if you want to retake that quiz. Best of teacher intentions. But then Eric has to work and can't get a ride after baseball and whatever. And then Eric goes, forget it. Like it's a 70. I'm cool with that. And now they're playing the grade game. Like they're justifying not doing as well just because it logistically doesn't work out. So it's really, really nice to be able to offer a lot of the things that we've had this year electronically. So you don't have access to like the Friday quizzes, but if you want them, if you want anything that I can like screenshot out of our learning management system, I am super happy to share all of that. And you also have access for my like I said, all of level 1, like lesson plans from previous years, but maybe not all I did this year was just like subtract things. So we just like deleted. Great, done. How can we do this digitally if we can digitize it? So if you want to take the more robust level 1 stuff and soon level 2 stuff, please, it's absolutely all yours. You're more than welcome. The bit.lys all are also case sensitive. So if any of them are not opening, I'm going to type my email address in the chat there, and you can like shoot me an email if you want to see anything else. If you even just want to like pop on our class Zoom and kind of see how we go through a Go Formative. I make no guarantees. I guarantee quantity and not quality, right? We're all just trying to make it. But I am like, would love for you to follow up and kind of see what we do, because I guarantee you it's not as exciting as it sounds. Probably we're all just doing our best. So sometimes it's nice to go, oh, okay, that's easy, never mind. And I tend to like overcomplicate things. So if you're having trouble kind of like piecing things together, like the teacher side and the student side and whatever, totally let me know and we can chat and collaborate all the things. So thank you, Eric and Heidi, so much. Thank you for having me.